there, and of course we'll keep you updated on the situation in Senegal. And as she did mention, the police minister is around the area at this time. Let's move on back to our business segment. Of course, we had to move on and take a look at what's happening in Senegal. But coming back to our business news then, despite an extremely challenging year, South Africa's mining companies remained resilient and performed on all fronts. Stakeholders benefited from the improved profitability, with mining companies strengthening their true social license to operate and supporting their employees and communities in which they operate. The mining industry weathered the COVID-19 storm mostly unscathed and certainly better than many other sectors. For more on this, when I joined by Luyanda Mngadi, who's the PwC Assurance Partner and SA Mine 2020 project leader. Well, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you very much for joining us, Luyanda.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
You know, what do you consider to be the factors that sort of assisted mining companies to be resilient, as we've reported during lockdown, especially when, you know, most sectors really took a major knock during those, I'll call it the hard lockdown periods?
Yeah, as you say, that mining certainly was far more resilient than other sectors. And one of the things that contributed to that is really the stronger commodity prices, particularly the platinum basket price as well as the gold prices, which increased revenue and therefore increased the profitability position of mining companies. Also, the balance sheets were strong. Balance sheets have been built up over the years, which has allowed mining companies to be more resilient and actually to be in a better position. There's been mining capital discipline, and there was also a focus on cash preservation.
And production decreased by 44% in April 2020 as a result of the pandemic. What did mining companies do in response to that?
Yeah, so production was halted in April in the hard lockdown. So underground companies were put on care and maintenance, while surface operations as well as open cast mines were largely in production. So yes, indeed, it is a 44% decrease in production as a result. However, as the lockdown restrictions were eased over May and June, production started resuming slowly, and production levels were increased. I mean, currently the production levels of some mining companies is back at full capacity, but there's an indication that by the end of the calendar year, the whole industry will be back to full production.
Right, can you take us through the PwC report specifically pertaining to our topic today, that is of mining companies, and really in relation to what mining companies need to do to build better going forward, as you know, they've really sort of performed better in terms of the lockdown period as would have been expected. But I'm sure in your projections you also indicate what should be done then going forward to improve on that.
Yeah, and there's various aspects to that. I mean, the mining industry certainly showed that it is key to providing support to communities and to providing support in terms of job creation and poverty alleviation. So it's also shown that it's important to the recovery of the economy. So in considering some of the things to build back better, one of the things is really looking into investing in mining to ensure its sustainability in the long term. And I'm specifically talking to capital expenditure. So while profitability is increased, it is unfortunate that capital expenditure only increased marginally. And yes, there has been a marginal increase in capital expenditure over the years because of some of the problems in South Africa and uncertainty in the industry. However, there is a realization that, you know, to sustain the mining industry, there has to be some investment in capital expenditure, and a realization that it would be detrimental to hold back on growth capital. Also in building back better, I mean, this is now an opportunity really to build a modern mining industry. So that is in the form of investing in technology and reskilling employees. It's also tapping into the renewable energy market to ensure a reliable as well as a cost competitive electricity supply. So we believe that hydrogen can play a transformative role in that regard. But there's also good examples of mining industries investing in solar plants. And finally, on the point of building back better, is a focus on the environmental, the social, and the governance matters, commonly known as ESG. So there's always a focus on the environmental aspect of it, but the pandemic certainly put a renewed focus on the vulnerabilities of South Africa's social and economic fabric, and also highlighted the mining industry's role in supporting communities and supporting government in the form of job creation and poverty alleviation. So, I mean, the pandemic has certainly showed that there has to be a focus on the social and governance aspects of ESG, and therefore ESG should be considered in its entirety going forward.
All right, a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for that information. Luyanda Mngadi, PwC Assurance Partner and SA Mine 2020 Project Leader. Thank you so very much for giving us your time.